In 1968, George Romero brought us Night of the Living Dead. It became the classic horror film of its time.
Not that room! Not that room!
Now, George Romero brings us the most intensely shocking motion picture experience for all times.
It gets up and kills. The people it kills get up and kill. This situation must be controlled before it's too late. They are multiplying too rapidly.
Dawn of the Dead.
Meet me on the roof at 9 o'clock. Getting out.
I don't believe
We're
it.
gonna
What?
get out in a chopper. We've got to survive. Somebody's got to survive.
They kill for one reason. They kill for food. They eat their victims.
Imagine, if you will, that something has gone terribly wrong.
Shoot it, man.
Now, accept the fact that there's no escaping the horrible consequences. George Romero brings back the dead. Night of the Living Dead has ended. Dawn of the Dead is here.
We must not be lulled by the concept that these are our family members or our friends. They are not. They will not respond to such emotions.
Operator dead. Post abandoned. We may never get out alive. It's everywhere. What the hell is it?
Looks like a shopping center, one of those big indoor malls.
What are they doing? Why do they come here?
Some kind of instinct, memory, what they used to do. This was an important place in their lives.
What is it?
We've got a war.
I'm afraid.
We have spawned our own savagery. Soon it will consume us all. It is a horrible, hauntingly accurate vision of the mindless excesses of a society gone mad.
They must be destroyed on sight.
When there is no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth.
We are down to the line, folks. We are down to the line.
Dawn of the Dead.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another amazing episode of the Jarvis Podcast. I cannot believe how far we've grown for almost 5 years now. But today, after showing you the Dawn of the Dead movie trailer from 1978, I just wanted to tell you that's the episode for today. We are talking about Dawn of the Dead 1978. So, this is the second movie in the Dead trilogy of George A. Romero's. And first there was Night of the Living Dead. Now there's Dawn, and then there would later be Day. And the movie would star David, Emge, Ken Foree, Scott Reiniger, and Gaylen Ross. They end up barricading themselves in a shopping mall amid the mass hysteria of what had happened in Night of the Living Dead. And the best thing about this movie is that it kind of shows off the larger scale effects of a zombie apocalypse on society. It also talks about when they make it to the mall, it shows a bunch of zombies at the mall, just aimlessly walking around. And Peter, one of the main guys, played by Ken Foree, pretty much says that, when there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth. And it's kind of funny how this movie came about, because it also shows off how capitalism works, the excesses that we hold dear to us. And who knows, if a zombie apocalypse ever did happen, maybe we'd all show up in a mall and have fun. Who knows? But honestly, the plot of the movie is that the United States is devastated by a mysterious plague that reanimates recently dead human beings as flesh-eating zombies. At the dawn of the crisis, it had been reported that millions of people have died and reanimated. Despite the government's best efforts, social order is collapsing. Rural communities and the National Guard have been effective in fighting the zombie hordes in open country, but urban centers descend into chaos. We meet a traffic reporter by the name of Stephen Andrews and his pregnant girlfriend, producer Fran Parker, who both work for WGON TV. And they are planning to steal the station's helicopter to escape the city. Across town, police SWAT officer Roger DeMarco and his team raid a low-income housing project whose mostly Black and Latino tenants are defying the martial law of delivering their dead to the National Guard. The tenants and the officers exchange gunfire as the officers try to gain entry. Roger unsuccessfully tries to restrain Woolley, a brutal and racist officer, after he maniacally kills several unarmed civilians. Woolley is shot dead by an officer from another unit, Peter Washington. As the SWAT team dispatch the reanimated dead that have injured or killed several tenants, a disillusioned Roger suggests that he and Peter desert and join up with Stephen, who is Roger's friend, in escaping the city. Another priest tells him that several zombies are confined in the basement. He also tells them that the SWAT team is stronger than the residents, but that soon the dead will be stronger than the SWAT team. The two go there and take on the grim job of eliminating them all. Later in that same night, Stephen discovers the dead body of a security operator who had been guarding a traffic helicopter belonging to his employer. Roger and Peter later join Fran and Stephen at a police dock and then leave Philadelphia in the stolen helicopter. Following some close calls while stopping for fuel, the group comes across a shopping mall and decide to remain there since there's plenty of food, medicine, and all kinds of consumables. Peter and Stephen camouflage the entrance to the stairwell which leads to their safe room, and they block the mall entrances with trucks to keep the undead from penetrating. This involves driving through crowds of zombies who are indifferent to their own injuries and attempt to enter the trucks. Roger survives a particularly dangerous encounter and becomes reckless as a result. He is soon bitten by the zombies. And then after they clear the mall's interior of zombies, the four of them enjoy a hedonistic lifestyle with all the goods available to them, furnishing their safe room with the mall's many commodities. Roger eventually succumbs to his wounds and dies. When he reanimates as a zombie, Peter shoots him in the head and later buries his body in the mall. Sometime later in the movie, all emergency broadcast transmissions have now ceased, suggesting that the government has collapsed. Now isolated, the three load more supplies into the helicopter in case they need to leave suddenly. Fran gets Stephen to teach her how to fly in case he is killed or incapacitated. Now, nomadic biker gang sees the helicopter when Stephen is teaching Fran how to fly. They decide they're going to break into the mall. They destroy the barriers. They pretty much allow the zombies that were outside in. Stephen is bit. The battle between Stephen, Roger, and these nomadic biker gang involves Steven getting shot. Well, when he tries to escape, he gets bit, reanimates as a zombie. Roger is up in the safe room, and Steven pretty much leads them to where they're at. So Fran's in the helicopter. Roger is trying to figure out, or Peter is trying to figure out if he should commit suicide or leave. Well, he kills the undead Steven and later joins Fran in the helicopter. And having escaped and low on fuel, the two then fly away in the helicopter to an uncertain future. And that's the end of the movie, which I have my little script here, so I tried to get the main points of the movie. And that is the end of the movie, end of the plot for Dawn of the Dead. I love this movie. Like, this is one of my top favorites, even kind of beating out Halloween in that aspect, because it pretty much shows how we would all descend into chaos. Our government would collapse from this, and we wouldn't know what to do. We as a nation would not know what to do. And I'm not trying to get political, not trying to do that, but with this movie, it kind of takes on that political tone of what consumerism is, what capitalism has done to us. And again, not being political about it, just speaking the truth. So when the zombies go to the mall, it's kind of like they're going to somewhere they remember. And Steven kind of touches on that when Fran asks, why did they come here? And Steven says, it's something they remember. It was a good time for them, which malls are. Malls are fun. Well, some of them. And, it pretty much makes it interesting in the aspect of, well, how would they know to come back to this place? And one of my favorite lines in this whole movie is when Peter says, when there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth. And the setting of having it in a shopping mall was so cool. I mean, it ultimately shows that even when you don't, know where to escape and you escape to a mall, you're never going to be 100% secure in there, because other people or groups are going to find you staying there or living in these areas, and they'll find you. And that's what the movie later gets into with the biker gang, which it's funny because when they do this, when they did that, it pretty much says that, hey, you're not safe. Even in this mall, even though you barricade it, you're not safe. People can get in. The fight with Roger or Peter, Steven, and the biker against the biker gang, it at first is like comedic, because the biker gang, they put pies in the face of the zombies, they hit them with water guns and all that. And it's just literally some of the serious, or some of the funnier stuff in this movie. Now, there was an alternate ending. I think there was actually two. But the one that got the most criticism, and that got the most, I would say, probably hated alternate ending was, according to the original screenplay, Peter and Francine were to kill themselves. Peter by shooting himself, and Fran by sticking her head into the path of a rotating main helicopter blades. The ending credits would run over a shot of the helicopter blades turning until the engines wind down, implying that the two would have not gotten far if they had chosen to escape. During production, it was decided to change the ending in the film. There is much of a lead up to it. I mean, Peter still points the gun like he is going to kill himself, and Fran steps out of the helicopter, but at the same time, he decides, no, you know what, I'm gonna try and make a run for it, and he does. They get away, and at the end of the day, that's what this movie says. Now, granted, the ending is left ambiguous because we don't know what happens. It doesn't show them on an island somewhere or safe. It just, they're in the helicopter and that's about it. And what's really interesting about all this is that the movie could have been made a little bit better. And I'm sorry for the convoluted way I'm talking about the movie. I can't do the movie justice. If you haven't seen this movie, it's very hard to find, but it's a great movie. What was I going to say? Now, this film, as we all know now, isn't the end of the Dead trilogy. Or the original Dead trilogy, as I like to call it. We would get Day of the Dead, which I don't know if I've ever talked about Day of the Dead, but that would be an episode for another time. I just want people to know that if they haven't seen this movie, they need to. And I think, honestly, if people don't, then you know what? Hey, that's okay. But at the same time, I think it's honestly, one, better than the original, which is Night, and two, I think it's better than Day. Not by much, but, and I'm gonna do a three-way dance, so to speak, where I compare Night of the Living Dead, Dawn, and Day. But I kind of want to do that with a bunch of guests in like a live stream atmosphere for it. So be on the lookout for that. I don't know when it's going to happen. Hopefully get some guests that will come on the show and, talk about it. But I hope you all enjoyed my, I guess, shoddy review of Dawn of the Dead, 1978. If you're looking at buying this movie, good luck. Because one, it's not on any streaming services. I think it's on YouTube. But honestly, it's a hard find. It really is. But again, great movie. Go check it out. I'm Steven Jarvis. You are my fans and loyal supporters. I love you all. Thank you. Also, if you're looking for a gaming channel, go check out the Twitch. Go check out my gaming channel on Twitch, which is TTVGervaisDemon. Thank you so very much, and I will see you next time.